first there's two 10s. And this lower harness bracket. There it is. There's just the bolts. Goodness. All right. Okay. Yep. That allows me to get to the lower cover now. Yeah, there should be, I think, 3 bolts on the lower cover. 1. 2. And here's the lower cover bolts. Now that should come off there, unless there's one more. Oh yeah, one more. There's 4. There we go. Alright, so now, the lower cover off. And we're going to want to tuck that seal back in there. There we go. Alright. Hey guys, how's it going? Australian, huh? You guys got a lot of these in Australia over there? Alright, so that's the timing belt. It's like a guard. Get that off. And then now we can get the tensioner off of there, which there's one bolt on the bottom of the tensioner that is kind of difficult to get to. Typically I run an extension from the bottom, 1/4 inch on a swivel to get to it. Timing marks already made. Obviously you guys can see this belt is really bad, there's cracks. Also I'm going to be doing front cam seals. I'll also be later on doing rear cam plugs, so if you guys subscribe, you'll see me going through this whole thing. I'm also going to be doing upper control arms, lower ball joints, rear axle seals, bearings, all the good stuff in the back, power steering rack, bushings. Those go bad because the cam plugs in the back of the valve covers leak oil down the back of the engine and ends up destroying those bushings. So, all the good stuff for the 3.4 Toyota. So, coolant is already out of it most of the way. Just got to get this bolt out here. There, I got my finger on it. See if I can get a swivel up in there. Alright. So there's 2 12s in the tensioner down here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. There we go. So down here is the tensioner. I'm using my phone on the stand, so I can't get you guys every angle, but you guys can. Once I get this belt off, it'll be a lot more interesting. So, let me see how I can get that off there. Alright, yep, I'm gonna have to go underneath. So we're gonna get this thing up in the air. Let me see, can I? Any questions? Oh yeah. This thing is moving around everywhere. Let's get it. Right. All right, so instead of trying to take the AC compressor off, I am going to just try and get the tensioner off without doing all that. So, tensioner for the time belt is back here behind that pulley. I'm gonna go ahead and just take this off. Might help me a little bit. This is for your AC compressor. All right. Now, a lot of times you can run an extension, like a wobble extension up through here and get that out of there. So, wobble extension up through the oil pan. There we go. That is a 12 millimeter. And we have to run a slightly shorter extension here. There we go. Yeah, we're gonna try running a little bit of a shorter extension. All right. So, got about a 6-inch, 1/4-inch extension here. The 12 should be able to sneak this up behind the tensioner. There we go. That might work. All right, so now we're on there. Now, ratchet in here. What do they say? 10% of the bolts will take 90% of the time. All right, so got it on there. It's tight, especially for this little tiny 1/4-inch ratchet. All right, so we got broke loose. These are also kind of a pain to get back in. All right, so might be able to get a gun on here. There we go. Now, a lot of times this bolt will fall somewhere where you don't want it. So, Get a bendable magnet here on the back. Try and get it out. Alright, so the bolt is hitting the middle pin. Alright, so now what you can do, get that outside bolt. There we go. There's the inside bolt. It just fell down in my coolant. There we go. Clean it off a bit. Alright, so before you take your tensioner off, then make sure all your timing marks are set. Which I've already done. Now I got the other bolt loose. I run it out, and I will lower it down. Do the fun stuff here. There we go. All right, there is the tensioner. And then there's a little rubber plug that goes with the tensioner that didn't come out. So we gotta pull that out. All right, now I'm gonna lower the truck back down and get the time belt off. All right. Get this out of here for you guys. That up out of the way. All right. There we go. Wait. Okay. Now you guys can actually see me get the time belt out. So, now tensioner's out. Get the time belt off of here, which most of the time it's easier to just get tensioner pulley out of the way first. So, tensioner pulley should be a 10mm Allen. Yep. And that did not feel good. Be careful because there's a washer behind the tensioner pulley. So you're going to want to make sure you get it. There it is. There's the tensioner pulley washer. Now, we can get the belt off the rest of the way. So, off the crank, cam, idlers. Oh yeah, look at that belt. Cracks in it, looks terrible. Alright, so now we got 12 there. Oh, no, 14. pulley. And then so I've got to do cam seals. So cam gears have to come off, and cam sensor has to come off. So we have a 10 here for the cam sensor. I'm just gonna let that guy hang out there for a bit. All right. And then you gotta get these off. They are really tight, so have a special tool for that. So, one of the best tools for this, it's a from Japan cam gear holder. Got this on eBay. So these will go in cam gear, lock in to break the cam gear loose. So you thread these in. Alright. That's going to allow cam gear to be held. And then there should be a 17. Yep. All right, so these are really tight. Let me double check, make sure they got cam seals. All right, so never mind. They did not get cam seals, so that was a waste of time. All right. Above that. Great. So, never mind. The seals look good, no leaks. All right. Well, get the water pump out then. So, thermostat housing is next. there's the thermostat housing. Oh yeah, that looks good. Smells good. That's yeah, that does not look right at all. I don't think they put the thermostat in there correctly. Yeah, definitely, because this is how it's in there. And the little jiggler valve right there is supposed to be at the top, not like this. So, good thing we're going to do this correctly. So, go ahead and put that cam sensor back, because we're not doing cam seals. This is the problem when people want to get their own parts. You don't know whether they got everything. Alright. There we go. That's back in. Now, time to get the water pump out of there. So for that, there's also a little, let's see if we can get this harness out of the way a bit. There's a little clamp right here we gotta get off. It's on the side of the water pump housing. Now, what I would like to know is, if some of you all are from a different country, are there any different layouts to this engine? Because sometimes I see they're supposed to be different tensioners, and some come with or without this hose on the side of the water pump housing. So I'm interested to know whether or not some of these have it or not. Better pair of pliers. Yeah. Should be enough where we can get the hose off of there now. Just get your radiator hose pick in there, work it back and forth a little bit, like that. There we go. Now, what you can do is, you gotta be careful. Grab the hose and rotate it a little bit. Yep, just like that. Now, have these guys that are made for separating hoses. So you take these, jam them in there. Sometimes. gap in there. Put this guy in there. There we go. Separate the hips. Alright, now we get the water pump off. That's all of them. Alright, that should be all the water pump bolts. Now what I like to do, take a hammer, lightly tap it, and it's going to bring your water pump out for you. Alright, what do we have here? Oh, that's cool. Looks like a piece of thermostat? I don't know. Nice. Alright, now we gotta clean it up. Now, the fun part. Alright. Little tip, these carbide scrapers are sweet. This is a 3.4 liter. It's a 2000 Toyota 4Runner. And since this is a cast iron block, these carbide scrapers work really well. Again, you don't want to scratch it, but the cast iron is a little more forgiving than aluminum. Actually, a lot more forgiving. So, use that to get off some of the heavy bits. And then when I'm done, I'll go around with the Scotch lock disc or another one of the little whisker biscuits. Alright. Oh yeah. A lot of rust. Looks like there's probably been on the inside like that. Typically, to me that means the coolant hasn't been serviced very regularly. Got a little bit of water in there, or cheap coolant. Coolant that was in it was not Toyota coolant. Block too. All right. Now, here's what I do to keep junk out of the block. I'll take a shop towel, I'll tuck it in different pieces. Water pump here. These are ventless. Always want to make sure ventless. Not super important, I guess, with coolant, but I like to try and keep things clean. Got little bits in here. Another shop thread. These are really good shop rags. They're actually really hard to tear in half compared to a normal paper towel. All right, yeah, the 4Runner's got 284,000 miles. So we're doing the time belt on it. Sorry guys, cut out there for a second. So, trying to get it's got rust on the flange, so it's really the only good way to get it off.
Pittsburgh, that 3/4.
Oh.
You know, off here.
No, I didn't. It's not mine. I don't know. I didn't use it. Oh, then it was in that upper drawer.
Stuff back over here. You want me stuff?
Yeah. Alright. Oh, you have the newer 4.7 then. The older 4.7 has a timing belt. I'm doing a live stream thing. people are talking about their trucks. Alright, so now that I got most of the heavy stuff off, go back with some Scotch-Brite, get the rest of it cleaned up. Alright, I got a little bit of Scotch-Brite here. And what I like to do, a little tip here, take your Scotch-Brite, tear a little piece, fold it over, and use a pair of forceps and hold it like that. Gets in those harder spots a little bit easier. So, now those hard to reach spots you can't hit with the grinder. Also, be careful with the grinders. You don't want to get too deep and dip the metal. When you're done, you're gonna run your finger around. Make sure there's no high or low spots. If you have a piece you feel like is built up, carbide scraper gonna help get that off of there. There we go. This is the boring part, guys. But it is the part that means a lot. You gotta make sure that everything is clean. I'll show you guys a tip I use for these water pumps too, like the water pump time belt kit that this customer got is don't like them, but they'll work, I guess. But they have a paper water pump gasket instead of like the ASN metal ones. So to keep it from leaking, I use a little bit of anaerobic sealant, just a little bit. But you can see with the forceps here in the Scotch-Brite, you can get into these spots a lot easier. It also kind of takes some of the pressure off your hand. Alright. Feels like a heavy spot there. So we're going to get our carbide scraper again. There it is. See that rust coming off, guys? There we go. Brake clean. That'll evaporate. Wipe off the flange. can see some of the idler spots better. This right here seems to be a bit high. There we go. Right there's a little high still. All right. Now, how does that feel? Feels pretty good. All right, so now last step before you're done cleaning up is I always like to take brake clean and a clean rag and wipe it off. So is that the famous Fiat? No, it is a Toyota 3.4 liter V6. Right. There we go, you can see all the grime of that thing. Keep wiping it off till it's clean. There we go. Now your rag's probably not gonna be perfectly clean when you're done, but you want to get it pretty clean. Basically what you want to see is when you wipe it across the sealing surface, like so, there's barely anything left on there, like that. Especially along the bottom, where they tend to leak. Alright. And then do a final inspection. Honestly, best to take your glove off for this. Feel around it. There we go. And you can see fingers are basically clean after that. All right. Next thing is going to be getting that water pump mounted up on there. Except now my hand's all wet and I can't get a glove back on. Also, something else is the ASM water pump kits come with new bolts. I don't believe the Dayco ones do. Alright, another thing is make sure you clean up the flange on the new water pump. Make sure you dump it all off. There's our water pump. Here's our cheap water pump gasket. You can see that this one is paper, cardboard, I don't call it. But be careful with these, they'll break. Especially being shipped around, bent up. So, here we go. Now, make our lives a little easier. Use a little bit of, right here, this stuff. Just use a little bit. Put it on the sealing surface. And this is gonna give, since that paper gasket doesn't want to stay on very well, you can use a little bit of this to help it stick to the water pump. Not going to put a bead down or anything like that. Just a thin film of it. This is really good sealer. It's also expensive. That's like $20 US for that little tube. All right. And now, take this guy, put it on there, like so. And that anaerobic sealant is going to help it stick to the water pump, make it easier to install. Also, make it seal up a little bit better, because I really don't like these paper gaskets. Alright, and then same thing. Do a little thin coat on the paper side too. Oop. It's a very thin coat. Alright. And then make sure if you get any on the inside of the water pump, clean it up before you put it back together. There we go. See, you got a little bit on the impeller there. Get that off. And then any on the inside here. Get that off. Alright. So that's okay to sit there for a sec. Now what I'm gonna go do is wire wheel the bolts, because this didn't come with any bolts. So, one thing I always like to do with the bolts is I take them over here on a bench grinder and clean them up. So, they're not that dirty, but we're gonna go ahead and do it anyway. Now we got the bolts cleaned up for the water pump. Now it's ready to go back in. So, there's a couple dowels, one there, and there's a stud that stayed. So, make sure you line all those up. Make sure everything sits in there properly. Alright, that felt good. So, go ahead and run some of the bolts in.